This is the inside of the Swift Escape 664. If we move to the control panel first of all, you'll see that we can turn the 12 volt on and off just here. We then have water pump on and off. We need the water pump on to be able to get water out of the taps, flush the toilet and fill the boiler if it's been drained down. We then have battery selection just here. So at the moment you can see that the leisure battery is highlighted, and this is the battery we are using to run the back end of the motorhome. Because we're currently hooked up to the main supply as well, this is the battery that we are charging. If I now press battery select, we can flip over to the vehicle battery, which is now what is supplying the back end of the motorhome. But more importantly, this is the battery that is now being charged as we are hooked up to the main supply. So if the van has been sitting for a longish period of time and you notice that the vehicle battery is a bit low, you can hook it up and charge it. View levels will give us a condition of the leisure battery, condition of the vehicle battery, how much water is in the fresh tank and how much water is in the waste tank. We then have awning light on and off, and then we have internal lights on and off. These can then also be turned on and off on their own switches. If we now come to the diner area and I just remove the cushions, and I now lift up, you'll see in here that we have the battery charger. So this is what's charging the leisure battery and the vehicle battery when we're hooked up to main supply. And then also in here we have the consumer unit. So we have the mains trip switches just here. So we have the 3 individual MCBs, the main RCD and test button just here. They are labelled up and then correspond on the sticker just here. So if something's not working on main supply, just check to see whether or not you've tripped. We then also have the 12 volt fuses just here, and again they are numbered up and correspond to this part of the sticker. So if something's not working on 12 volt, just check to see whether you've blown a fuse. Along the top here we have isolator switches for components that use mains electricity. So the first one just here is for the water heater. So if you want hot water on mains electricity, firstly make sure there's water in the boiler, and then turn this on just here and it will then begin to heat the water up. Do make sure if there's no water in the boiler that this is turned off, or otherwise you do run the risk of burning out the element. Next we have the isolator switch for the electric element in the heating. If this is turned off, the control panel for the heating will not work, so really this can just be left alone. The green one is for the battery charger, and again if you turn that off, the battery charger will no longer work and will not charge the batteries up. This one will illuminate if you have reverse polarity connected to the motorhome. This can sometimes be found on some continental sites. We then have these buttons just here. They are more for the workshop, but you can just press select and it will give you a condition of the leisure battery in volts and a condition of the vehicle battery in volts. And it will also let you know the battery amps that you are currently using. We then lastly have full system shutdown. So if you're not using the motorhome for long periods of time, you can press this black button just here and it will then shut the back end of the motorhome down and kill any residual draw on the leisure battery. We then have storage underneath the bench seat just here. We also have in here the back of the battery box, so we can see the main 12-volt fuse just there, and then we can also see the external TV aerial point coming in from the battery box. Fridge just here. So at the moment it's currently in the off position. If we want to run the fridge on gas, turn it to the little flame there. The igniter will start, and then all we need to do is come across the temperature control and push it in. What we then want is this line here to drift out of the white into the green to let you know it's lit. Just hold it for a few seconds and then just let go. If it drops back off, just repeat the process until it holds steady in green. As soon as you turn it back to off, it will automatically put itself out and start drifting back down again. Next we have the little picture of the 2-pin plug, so this is mains electricity. And then lastly we have 12-volt maintain, which will keep the fridge cold whilst on the move. It will only work when the engine is running. We then have the hob, so we have 3 gas burners. Let's just push in, twist and press the igniter. Beneath that we then have the oven and the grill, and if we push in and go to the left, that will light the oven, and then if we push in and go to the right, that will then light the grill. Beneath the oven we have storage, but you will also find a couple of gas isolation taps. They are colour coded and then correspond on the sticker. They are in the on position, and quite frankly they can stay like that. They are more for maintenance than anything else. I always say if you smell gas inside the motorhome, go to the source and turn the gas bottle off. Next we have the fire. If we are going to use this on gas, we come across to the temperature control just here. I usually turn it all the way around to 10, hold it down and then push the igniter. We can then peer for the pilot light just in here. Not the easiest thing to do. See if I can get the right, there we go, just get the right angle. This is now convecting out of here. What we can also do is turn on the fans, and then the warm air will be blown out of the air ducts around the motorhome. So if we now flick it to the on position, and we can then control the fan speed just here. A will not work in this particular model. It stands for automatic, but you do have to have another thermostat fitted. And then turn it back off again just by going back to the 0. If we want to use the electric element in that fire, we come round to the controls at the foot of the bed. You'll see we have this one here that says Trima Ultra Heat, which is for that electric element in that fire. Firstly, we do just need to make sure that that isolator switch is on the consumer unit. Then we can flick up or we can flick down, and these are just power settings, so just really dependent on the amperage of the site you're on. So we can run the element on 2 kilowatts, 500 watts or 1 kilowatt, and then we control the convection just on the dial here. Next we have hot water on gas. So if we're going to use this, make sure that the flue cover has been removed on the outside of the motorhome and that the gas is turned on, and then just flick down to the little picture of the flame and a green light will appear. Unlike with hot water on main supply that will just give you a water temperature of about 60 degrees, you can control the temperature of the water on the front here. So you can heat it to a low 30 degrees right the way up to 70. If it fails to light, a red light will just pop up in the window. If we now come inside the wardrobe, we have the television aerial just here. So to raise the television aerial mast, just loosen off here and on the collar, and then just push the pole up, and then just twist it into the position that you require, and then just lock it back into position. Never over tighten these collars because you can run the risk of splitting them. Then make sure that the digital amplifier is turned on and that you're on normal boost. And then it's just a matter of plugging your TV in at this point here and then tuning it in. What you can also do if you're on a pitch with its own TV aerial is run off that from that connection point in the battery locker. If you're going to do that, you just need to remove this cable and then plug this one in. Do make sure that the mast is lowered for travel. If we now go underneath the fixed bed, you'll see that underneath here we have some more gas isolation taps just there. Again, they are labelled up, and we have the Truma boiler itself. To drop the water out of the boiler for winterization, you just need to come to the little yellow tap just here. You'll see at the moment it's flapped over in the closed position. To drain the boiler of water, firstly make sure that the water pump is turned off, and then come to this yellow lever and flap it up. It will then drop all the water out of the boiler. I always suggest that if you are fully winterizing the motorhome, that you also open up all of the taps as well, because this will release any airlocks in the system, making it drain down much better. When it comes to filling it back up again, make sure the yellow lever is flat back over again. Close all your taps, fill up the fresh water tank, and then turn the water pump on. Let it run for a few minutes, and then begin opening your taps up. They will cough and they'll splutter. Wait until they're running freely on hot and cold, and then close again, and the system will then fully reprime itself. Also in here, we have the water pump just at the back there. The white part of it is the surge dampener. And then we also have the fresh water tank just here. To drain the fresh water tank down, all you need to do is remove the top, and then you'll see that there's a bung in the tank just there. Just pull it out to drain it down. If we now come to the washroom, we have the toilet just here. The bowl does swivel about. To open to the cassette, just come down to the grey lever just here and slide it across. Push to flush just here. Again, do make sure the water pump is turned on, or otherwise it will not work. Level indicator just here, so this will illuminate just to let you know when the cassette needs emptying. And then close back up on the lever. If this has been left open and you try to remove the cassette from the outside, it will not come out. So if you do feel resistance, make sure that nobody's left it open. We then have the shower just here, and then the basin. Light switch just tucked here. The front diner area can be made into a bed. If you're going to do this, you need to firstly unhook the table and then drop it down onto this part just here. As you can now see, the table's been dropped into position and the shorter leg has been lowered. If we now remove these cushions, this one is not required, but we do need this one. I'm going to put it upside down so you can actually just see where infills go. So we have this infill just here, which fills this gap. We then take the other infill just here, and we then pop this into place just here. So it then fits in like so. If we now lift up this section, and we then fold the leg out and then pull it towards us, we can then drop it down like so. And then if I then slide across and then pop in the back rest cushion, and you will then see that we just have a small little gap just there. And that is what this fin piece is for. And then, as you can see, we then have another double bed. The front window has a pull across blind, and the side windows have these clip-on silver screens. As you can see, I've already clipped that one on. They come rolled up like so. This is the one for the passenger side window. We then have the sat nav just here, which is also the reverse camera. As you can see, it looks like most modern sat navs. You have where to just here, and then just obviously pop in the address. Because this is a camper sat nav, it also has all of the sites already pre-programmed in. With the reverse camera, as soon as you pop it into reverse, it will automatically load itself in.